There are moments in nature when the world seems to pause as if holding its breath. A quiet afternoon along a peaceful coastline, sunlight shimmering over calm waves, families walking barefoot on warm sand. Nothing looks unusual, nothing feels wrong. And yet far beyond the horizon, something has already begun, something silent, immense, unstoppable. A disturbance deep beneath the ocean floor, a shift in the architecture of the earth itself, a force powerful enough to lift a sea. A tsunami never begins with drama. It begins with a whisper in the crust, a sudden rupture along a tectonic boundary, a place where continents grind, collide, or slip past each other in slow, relentless motion. Most days, these movements are too subtle for us to feel. But when enough pressure builds, when rock finally gives way, the release is violent. The seafloor lurches upward or collapses downward in a single, colossal motion. And when billions of tons of water are displaced in an instant, the ocean answers with a rising pulse that begins traveling outward in all directions. Out at sea, a tsunami is almost invisible. Ships barely notice the passing swell. The wave may be traveling across the ocean at the speed of a jet plane, 500 miles per hour or more, yet only raise the surface by a foot or two. A fisherman on the open ocean could sail directly across a tsunami and never know it. There is no curling crest, no roaring wall of water, just a rolling displacement moving with purpose, following the physics of momentum and gravity. Most tsunamis never reach land with enough force to be remembered. They dissipate, disperse, or pass unnoticed along empty stretches of coast. But occasionally, the conditions align. Enormous energy, a direct path toward shallow continental shelves, and human communities built along shores that have forgotten how dangerous the ocean can be. When these elements combine, the wave does not simply touch land, it transforms. As the seabed rises beneath the speeding wave, the water slows, thickens, and climbs upward, forced into a towering wall of kinetic energy. The wavelength shortens, the height builds. The ocean, once calm and predictable, begins marching inward like a living thing reclaiming territory. People standing on a beach may first see the water draw back, an eerie, unnatural retreat exposing sandbars and reefs that should never see the sun. Curious onlookers walk out to where fish flop helplessly on new land, unaware that the ocean is gathering itself for its return. And then it arrives. Not as a single wave, but a series of surges, each one capable of tearing apart structures, uprooting trees, lifting cars, swallowing bridges, and reshaping coastlines. The sound is not a roar but a deep, consuming vibration, like the engine of the earth turning over. Even strong swimmers cannot escape its grip. Water moves with the weight of stone when it comes in such volume. For thousands of years, tsunamis have shaped myths and histories. Ancient people interpreted them as messages from gods, signs of anger, warnings, or punishments. Today, we understand the science, yet the experience remains just as humbling. Because a tsunami does not simply destroy, it reminds humanity of its place on a planet still very much alive beneath our feet. And as we step deeper into the story of these colossal waves, we begin to see not only their power but their secrets, the clues they leave behind, the mysteries they create, and the delicate balance of geology, oceanography, and history that allows them to exist. The coastline may look peaceful, but beneath its calm surface, the forces that shape our world are always moving, always shifting, always preparing for the next moment when silence becomes motion. To understand a tsunami, you must understand the stage on which it's born, the Earth's crust. Our planet is not a solid sphere but a mosaic of tectonic plates floating atop molten rock. They grind and collide with a patience that spans eons, sculpting mountains, forming volcanoes, creating islands, and carving trenches deeper than anything on land. Along these boundaries lie subduction zones, massive scars in the planet's surface where one tectonic plate is slowly sinking beneath another. Most of the world's largest tsunamis begin here. For centuries, pressure builds silently as one plate resists being pushed below another. The two plates lock together, bending and storing tension like a bowstring pulled tight. Then suddenly, the lock gives way. the seafloor snaps upward or downward, shifting by meters in a fraction of a second. That movement, multiplied across hundreds of miles, forces the ocean to rise like a breathed-in lung. Yet the planet has other ways of creating tsunamis. Massive landslides strike underwater cliffs, sending mountains of rock plunging into deep ocean basins. Icebergs calve from glaciers, collapsing with enough force to displace millions of gallons of water. Even asteroid impacts, rare but possible, could produce waves that would sweep across entire oceans. But no matter the cause, the effect is the same: water transformed into momentum. Scientists who study tsunamis face a unique challenge. Unlike hurricanes, which evolve over days, or wildfires, which spread gradually, a tsunami is a sudden event with little warning. You cannot prevent one. You can only predict, measure, and outrun it. That is why deep ocean pressure sensors sit anchored to the seafloor, linked to buoys that transmit real-time data back to monitoring centers. Satellites scan for subtle changes in sea level. Coastlines rely on warning sirens, evacuation routes, and public drills. In many regions, schools teach children to run to higher ground the moment they feel strong shaking. Because when the ocean is involved, speed is survival. Still, even with modern technology, tsunamis remain misunderstood. Many people imagine them as singular waves, a towering crest coming once and then fading. In reality, tsunamis behave more like tides on fast forward. The first wave is often not the largest. The disaster unfolds in cycles, water rushing in, sweeping away everything it touches, then pulling back with equal destructive strength. Hours can pass between surges. Communities emerging from hiding may find themselves caught in another assault. And yet, for all their destructive potential, tsunamis have also revealed the extraordinary resilience of humanity. Stories from survivors describe impossible escapes, astonishing coincidences, and acts of bravery that unfold in seconds. Animals intuitively run to high ground long before humans understand what is happening. Birds take flight inland. Dogs pull at their leashes. Elephants move to hillsides. Nature often knows before we do. But even more fascinating are the ways tsunamis have recorded themselves into the memory of the Earth. Layers of sand embedded deep within coastal forests, saltwater trapped in ancient soil. Coral reefs snapped like twigs. These are all signatures of events long past. In Japan, stone markers thousands of years old warn future generations. Do not build your homes below this point. Some ignored the warning. Others lived because they respected a wisdom older than their nation. With every generation, the lessons repeat. The ocean is life, the ocean is beauty, but the ocean is also power. And as we travel further into the science and human stories of tsunamis, we begin to see how these waves are not simply disasters. They are teachers, revealing the hidden connections between geology, water, and time itself. A tsunami does not only reshape coastlines, it reshapes lives. When the water recedes and silence returns, the world feels changed, as if some great truth has been exposed. Entire landscapes are redrawn. Rivers carve new paths. Bays become plains. Forests become cemeteries of splintered trunks and scattered debris. And in the aftermath, the scale of destruction is matched only by the scale of humanity's response. But beyond tragedy lies something equally profound: geological renewal. Tsunamis, as devastating as they are, also play a part in Earth's natural systems. They redistribute sediment, replenish nutrient-rich soils, carve new inlets for marine life, and influence ecological succession in ways scientists are still learning to understand. Some of the lushest coastal plains in the world were originally shaped by ancient tsunamis. There is also a cultural dimension. Indigenous communities across the Pacific have preserved oral histories for thousands of years describing great waves, strange animal behavior before disasters, and mountain trails designed specifically for escape. These stories were not myths, they were survival guides. And today, researchers studying these legends have found correlations with geological evidence, demonstrating that memory itself can become a protective technology. But perhaps the most captivating aspect of tsunamis is the psychological transformation they induce. People who survive often speak of a sense of perspective that alters the course of their lives, a new appreciation for time, a deeper respect for nature, a recognition that life can change in moments, yet also rebuild in unexpected ways. Science, too, evolves after each event. Engineers study the failure of buildings to design stronger ones. Oceanographers refine models that predict wave height and travel time. Emergency planners reconsider evacuation routes. Each tsunami becomes a case study, a tragic but invaluable contribution to future safety. However, some mysteries remain. Despite advanced sensors and global networks, predicting the exact behavior of a tsunami is incredibly complex. Factors such as underwater topography, coastline shape, wave interference, and local geology create outcomes that even the best models occasionally struggle to capture. The ocean remains, in many ways, an unpredictable landscape. And yet, this unpredictability is part of its identity. Tsunamis demonstrate that the Earth is not static, not fully within human control, not something to be managed like machinery. It is a living system, balancing creation and destruction in ways we are only beginning to comprehend. For every coastline, every community, every family that calls the shore home, the story of tsunamis is both a warning and a reminder of the fragile harmony between land and sea, and of the extraordinary strength found in recovery. As we move into our final part, we look not only backward at the history of these colossal waves, but forward to the innovations, preparations, and collective understanding that shape our future on a planet defined by water. The more we study tsunamis, the clearer it becomes that their story is not just about water and destruction. It is about resilience, renewal, and the ongoing partnership between humanity and the Earth. For every coastline vulnerable to these waves, there is also a community learning, adapting, and building systems designed to save lives. Modern monitoring networks stretch across ocean basins, linking satellites, seabed sensors, coastal radars, and high-speed communication lines. These systems cannot prevent a tsunami, but they can transform minutes into survival. Early warnings now reach millions of people in seconds, guiding them toward high ground long before the first surge arrives. Countries share data freely, recognizing that tsunamis do not respect borders. Entire regions conduct evacuation drills that once seemed unnecessary, but now stand as vital threads in the fabric of preparedness. Technology alone, however, is not enough. The most powerful defense against tsunamis is knowledge passed through generations, woven into culture, architecture, education, and collective memory. When people understand the signs, they do not hesitate. They run, they climb, they survive. And for all the destruction tsunamis bring, the ocean remains a symbol of life, not fear. The same waters that can rise in fury also sustain billions of people, regulate the planet's climate, and host ecosystems of astonishing beauty. To fear the ocean entirely is to misunderstand it. To respect it is to coexist with it. As we reach the end of our journey, standing once more along a peaceful shoreline, the waves return to their timeless rhythm, gentle, predictable, comforting. The horizon glows with the soft light of dawn, and the world feels calm again. But somewhere beneath that calm lies the memory of every surge the planet has ever created. Nature is not our enemy. It is our home, a home that moves, breathes, shifts, and evolves, a home we are still learning to understand. The story of tsunamis is ultimately the story of Earth's restless heart, its power, its beauty, its unpredictability, and its resilience. And as long as water touches land, this story continues, inviting us to listen, to learn, and to prepare, so that future generations may stand safely where the sea meets the shore.